Hello, here's Mr. Blyer, and welcome to another math tutorial. In this lesson, we are going to calculate the volume and also the total surface area of a new shape. Today's shape is the following: a circular cone. The base is a circle with a radius of 2.2 cm and the height of the cone is 5 cm. Can you calculate the volume and the surface area of this shape? Let's check it out. Let's start sketching our problem. So we have a circular cone with a circle, and where the circle, we also have here the radius given from the center to the circumference. The radius from this example is 2.2 centimeter. It's also given the height for my volume. The height of the volume is 5 centimeter. Notice that both of my measurements has two significant figures. To calculate the volume is very similar start at the previous shape we calculated, the cylinder. If you remember, if I would have a cylinder with the same base and the same height, the difference between these two would be a third. So the formula for the volume of a cone with the circular base is area of the base, then we're gonna multiply by the height, and lastly we're gonna divide them by 3 is a third of a volume of a cylinder. All the measurements needed are here, so they should be just plugging in. Pi times radius square is the formula for the area of the base of a circle. We're gonna multiply by my height and divide by 3. Pi times 2.2 is my radius to the power 2 times 5 and then divide by 3. If you take your calculator, plugging in, you're gonna see that the final answer is 25.3421, and the last thing that we need in here is to round. If we have two significant figures, this is going to be my first significant figure, this is my second, the ones. So we're going to round accordingly to the ones. Check the next digit, and so you're going to realize that the closest answer is 25 cubic centimeters. Let's move it on. To calculate the total surface area, we need to find out another measurement, which is the slant height. It's given the radius and the height, but not the slant height. Maybe let's drop a little bit here inside my cone. If you see where I drew here, the height from the apex, from the highest point, this is called apex, to the center of my base, this line would give you one side of a triangle. I want you to look in here. I slice inside of my shape. Maybe we could look a little bit bigger this shape. This is a slice inside of a cone where we do have the height, one side of my triangle. We do have the other side, the two legs of my triangles is given, but we don't know the slant height or the longest side. In this case, for a triangle, this is called hypotenuse. If you remember Pythagoras, a square plus b square equals c square is what we're going to be using for these. So Pythagoras formula is a square plus b square equals c square. A gonna be 2.2, b gonna be 5, and c gonna be the hypotenuse, gonna be my slant height. Plugging in 2.2 square plus 5 square should be equal to s square. 4.84 plus 25 is equal s is square. Remember, to find out the s square, we need to do the inverse operation, which is the square root. Alright, after adding them up, this is 29.84 equals s squared. Don't forget the square root in both sides. So my s is 5.4626 about. And when we round to two significant digits, we're going to have 5 and 4. 6 is a big digit that rounds to 5.5 for my s. So that is the slant height. So we can plug in 5.5. Now we have everything we need to calculate the total surface area. Let's move it on. Let's continue with the area of the lateral. We need the lateral and the base to calculate the total surface area. So if you remember, in a cone we have two circles, a smaller circle which is our base, and then for a big circle we only use part of it. We cut this to make the lateral. So the radius of the big circle is what we calculate as s, is the slant height, which coincide with the side of my cone, and then the radius we call r, small r, the radius is for the base. Let's calculate the area of my lateral. The area of lateral, if you remember, the formula is pi times the smaller radius from the base times the slant height, which is the radius of the big circle used for the lateral. Let's plug in our values. The area of the lateral is pi times the smaller radius, 2.2, times the slant height, which is 5.5. Plugging this in our calculator, our output is 38.01 about, and we're gonna round to two significant digits. 3 is my first significant digit, 8 is my second one, the next one is 0, so my final answer is 38 square centimeter for the area of the lateral. Next step, to calculate, to finalize with the total surface area, we need to calculate the area of the base. And the area of the base is pi times radius square. Radius is 2.2 square. Plug this in our calculator, we're gonna get 15.205, which is about, rounding to two significant digits, 1 and 5. The next digit is a smaller digit, so we're gonna have 15 square centimeter. Finally, we can calculate the total surface area of this cone to be the area of the base plus the area of my lateral. We have already our measurements before, so let's plug in here 15 square centimeter. You can also use the values before rounding if you want to be a bit more accurate, and then in the final step to round, plus 38.01. We should always use all the digits before the final rounding, and this is gonna round to 53.218. But again, rounded to two significant digits, since the other digits were quite small, so 2 or 0, so this has no impact in our final answer. We could have used the rounded values anyway, so this round to 53 square centimeter, and this is my final answer for the total surface area. So this example took a little bit more work because we didn't have all the measurements given. So we had to calculate the slant height using Pythagoras. Don't forget this little detail. Stay tuned and see you in the next one.